this is the team screen that we're familiar with. And the first thing I'll call you, we'll walk through it to hopefully increase our comfort level with it. On the far left here is the app bar. And the app bar will take you to either app. They can be totally external to Teams apps, or they can be integrated with Teams apps. I think Kazembe, you hit the nail on the head. Microsoft's strategy and goal is to just make you come here for everything. Teams is bringing everything into the Teams consoles, even if it's not Microsoft's. They want to make sure you just go to Teams first and then access the apps you're here to use. Everything seamlessly integrates. So in the app bar, we have you can add apps. There's a whole app catalog of additional apps you can add, including things like Zoom, Power BI. When you add these apps, if you want, eventually you're going to run out of room. So if you want it to stay, you have to pin it to the bar, and you have pin and unpin capabilities. You also have pop out, which is relatively new. You can take that app. You know, why leave Teams if you can just use Teams and have multiple windows of Teams? Have Zoom in one window and OneDrive or OneNote in another window. So pop out is nice. But the bread and butter of Teams, the reason you're in Teams, the reason everybody came here Teams originally was for the Teams. So we have Teams, and in our environment, Teams are self-service. You can create your own teams at will. So creating a team is as simple as coming down to the bottom of your list of teams and creating a new team. So you can create a team here. Now there are 4, I'll have this linked in the notes as well, but there are 4 different types of teams. My advice is simply, unless you're planning on using your team for class and you're going to use OneNote to assign people and do assignments and grading, just use one of these other 3 teams. I generally stick with other, but it may vary. When you're creating teams, I want to make sure you're aware that we have a custom block list of words on campus. So you can't use, you can't present yourself as the provost in your team because it's a sensitive word on campus. And when you try to name it that, it says this can't be used. It may also say that if you think particular curse words, we prefer not to see, mainly because this is a self-service for everyone, including the students. So if you can create your team, you have a place for description and your privacy. 95+% of the teams are private, so that you can control who are the members of the team. But if you set it as a public team, anyone can find it and join your team and view all the contents of your team at will. And then if you hit next, it'll create the team, and then it will prompt you to add owners and members of the team. So I'm going to cancel out of this so I don't create another team. I'm going to go to my demo team, in which I will take you to the next step, which looks exactly like this. This is the next step in creating a team. So from here, I'm going to add Paige to my demo team. And when I add her, I get immediately prompted, do I want to make her an owner or a member? Strong advice when you're creating teams, multiple owners, because teams kind of have a little expiration date stamped on them. Eventually they will expire. That time period is 3 years. So don't worry about it expiring immediately. But when it gets, as it approaches that expiration date, and it's 3 years of non-activity. Don't get me wrong. It's not three years from creation date. It's 3 years of non-activity. But as it gets close to that expiration date, it will start emailing the owners. So if you have a shared team, you want to have multiple people in there in case someone moves on and can't answer those requests. Let's see. So you can have up to 100 owners for a team. That's not necessary, and up to 25,000 members. You can also add members to the team who are not here at Vanderbilt. So if you know someone personally, externally, their external address, you can add them as a guest to the team. and that they get an email where they confirm that they did mean to get this email, they want it. They get a code when they log in confirming they are who they say they are, and they can log in. They don't need an account at Vanderbilt. They don't need a license or anything. They can interact as part of your team as a guest. So that's helpful to know as we interact with our friends over the Med Center or elsewhere, having those people interact in the teams. Okay, so channels, I wholeheartedly endorse what Paige said. Don't go overboard on the channels. It gets out of hand, but the channels are really valuable for kind of organizing and separating those conversations or the collaboration around documents, because they become a de facto document separation mechanism. I will just show off my own. This is my team. We are death by channels. Yes. So that happens. Within every channel, every team gets a general channel, and every channel, including the general channel, has 2 default tabs within it. The posts channel, as Paige pointed out, where it's persistent chat all the way back. And a very good conduit for dropping files in for collaboration. And it also kind of just gives you updates to everything happening in that team, in that channel. And then the files channel, which is where our document repository is. But you can very easily, with this plus sign, add more features. Just like your apps bar here, you can add other apps just to present to you within your Teams client. Within the team, you can add other capabilities and functions here. So I've got a preparation where I've added planner. So I've got a planner board here. That's a whole different topic we'll have another session on, but planner's great. You can do a lot of stuff with planner, but it integrates seamlessly into your team. And in fact, your planner is you can easily instantiate a planner in that team, that same group the teams joined in. To go back to a question about what do you do first? Planner, you can easily add a planner into a team. Here in the execution phase, I'm working on a project. I have to show off on my new favorite, whiteboard. You can easily add a whiteboard to this. It's going to think about it. And the whiteboard, this digital whiteboard, it's a Microsoft app. It's just like your whiteboards in your rooms, and it has that same co-editing feature that you have within your documents. Everyone in the team could sit in here and draw and write, and it's fantastic. So, okay, enough about whiteboard. So files, like we've said, files is our document repository. You can easily drag and drop documents right into here, just from your Windows Explorer window. Co-editing is fantastic. I agree. That is one of the whiz bang wow things about storing any of your documents in SharePoint or OneDrive. The version history is fantastic. It is ever improving. I've seen examples of the version history gets to this point. You have an offline version of the file on your document. You're syncing it, which I'll show you in a minute. You take that flight and you work on the document while you're in the air. But Paige also works on the document while you're in the air, and you land and you sync up. It used to be, I mean, not even just 2 years ago, it would say, oh, we're just gonna name that version 1, and now you have a different document and you forked it. Now it merges them, and the next person to open the document gets a Paige and Derek was one I'm playing. Derek and Paige both edited this document, and here's the section that's out of sync. Which one wins? So, and if that person, if I open it and I make the wrong choice and Paige opens it later and says, no, my edit was proper, she can go look in the version history and pick her version back out. So it keeps that version history at least 30 copies. I don't know the exact number, but we keep, I think it's Microsoft at one point said, oh, we keep them all, every version, all the way back forever. So the other thing you can do in here, as you might think, if you're thinking of it the same kind of folder structure we're familiar with in the Explorer windows, you can create folders even within your file structure and just manage it like you would your typical folder structure. Well, let's say this document is really important and I want to make sure it's highlighted every time anyone's working on this project and they come into this channel and they're looking at the files, I want to call this one out. You can pin the file up here to the top, so everyone kind of sees it called out as an important file in this space.